Welcome to our weekly market review brought to you by ETM Analytics and Treasury One. As always, I'm joined by Treasury One currency strategist Andre Sillier. Well, Andre, at least all the Easter holiday and all the other public holidays, that hoopla is now all done and dusted. Everyone's back at their desks. So everyone is now back to normal and we have a full week ahead of us. But one development that's got a lot of people interested, a lot of people concerned, depends on which side of the coin you're on, is what is OPEC doing? They're pumping up production throughout the next couple of months. And that, of course, has placed some pressure on oil prices coming down. And this is significant, right? This is significant for countries like, I'm thinking Africa countries here, Nigeria and Angola specifically coming under a lot of strain because of this.
Yes, good day, Ilse Marie. People's going to be absolutely exhausted on Friday, having to work 5 days for this week. I mean, it's just incredible.
Too much.
They're all going to check into clinics by the end of the week. Yes, the games people play. If it's not Donald Trump, then it's the OPEC countries against Kazakhstan and those people, you know, the one pumps more and then the other one says, I don't like you pumping more, so now I'll pump more. And then we'll drive by prices so that we spite you, but we're actually spiting ourselves, you know. So that's why I just call this the games people play. But for the moment, lower oil prices, as you mentioned, for African countries, especially Nigeria, that also is in the oil producing side, you know, a big earner of foreign exchange for them, adding to their reserves, and lower oil prices doesn't do well for that. But if we look at South Africa, for instance, it does well for us. Oil is our biggest import, so the biggest taker of foreign exchange that's being earned on an outflow. And it's very positive if we have fuel prices coming down. And this week we are seeing them coming down again. That's very good for inflation. So inflation looks good. But it's also good for the world as such, because oil is still a big contributor to the cost or the chain in the logistics side. So it's something that if you get lower oil prices, adds to inflation pressures being diminished and smaller. So how long it will last is a new one, because it's at a 4-year low, and it's not at a level where it's comfortable for oil producing countries. But with a slowdown expected throughout the world, and we have to link Trump's tariffs to this, a slowdown in world economies is expected, which means the demand for oil will be lower. So it could last for a while that it stays at these lower levels. But this brings the whole OPEC unity into question as well. So it's a space that we have to watch very, very carefully, because it's got an impact so widely through world economies.
So we have a theory, or, you know, some thoughts that we were thinking about this, because we, you know, OPEC increasing output had us scratching our heads. You know, especially against the backdrop, like you mentioned, the economic downturn that we're expecting. And we were wondering whether or not they were forcing these prices lower through the increased output, just to disincentivize perhaps some US investors. Because if you recall, Donald Trump was very vocal during his campaigns about drill, baby, drill. You know, he wanted this oil market revival almost in the US to happen. So there are some theories, let's call them, that could be something to that effect. And like you rightfully said, how long it's going to last, that glut. Our viewpoint here at ETM is that it will last at least 2 years, perhaps below $70 and below, just because even if OPEC starts pulling back on production, it's still just going to meet demand as the economic downturn happens. So we're not expecting those prices to pick up significantly anytime soon. But for South Africans, that's perhaps good news, and through, like you mentioned, the change that's going to come through it. Obviously, the big event this week is what's happening in the US with the Federal Reserve. Also, Trump, some strong Trump effects are coming into this. He was it over the weekend or late last week? He called on the Fed to start cutting rates. So, in this places the Fed in a very difficult position, because obviously it comes on the back of a stronger than expected labor report from the labor data in April. We're seeing the equity market stabilizing, winning back some ground perhaps. So, but if the Fed now starts to move, it's going to look like they're caving to political pressure, which is also not something that they want. But we are expecting more cuts throughout this year, but perhaps not this week just yet.
Yes, I almost want to say next slide. You've mentioned it all. If they move on interest rates, is it caving in to pressure from Donald Trump? Is it because inflation is a little bit lower? It's a difficult one. It's sort of, 50 of the one, 50 of the other. Technically, if you look at the figures, he can move by 25 basis points, purely on figures related to inflation coming lower, etc. Purely looking forward that there could be an increase in inflation because of tariffs working through the markets, then now would be the ideal time to actually lower interest rates now, so that you try and avoid a recession going forward. Yes. You've had the first quarter with negative growth. So there is factors that he can come up with that justifies it. My opinion is that he will still hold off. And that would not be to try and spite Mr. Trump, but that would purely be looking forwardly at the possibility of higher inflation because of tariffs working through the market, having an impact on prices. And at this point in time, if you look at the second level of targets that they're watching is job creation, that is still looking good. Figures coming out supports no cut is warranted. And so I think his focus is going to be on the inflation and a possible rise in inflation, and hence sitting back, not decreasing interest rates.
Yeah, I think you're 100%. I fully agree. So where does that leave the rand then this week?
Well, we're between 18 and 19, that comfortable level that we actually got tired of last year mentioning at every discussion we had. We're in a trading range of 18 to 19, and there it is. And we're back into it. And if you look at local situations, we've had some positives coming through on the GNU. Let's speak about that in a week's time. Once a court case is going through the courts, another court case, this time on employment equity. I described it this morning as, there sits the board of directors, and one of the directors is actually suing the other directors. How comfortable is that board of directors? And then somebody had asked me this morning, do I think this GNU will hold? And I said, yes, I think it will hold because it's ring-fenced. There's a fence around that blue wildebeest containing it, not letting it escape. So I think it will still hold, but this uncertainty will upset our market every now and then. But I think we're firmly back into 18-19 for the moment.
Okay. That's it. It's another interesting week ahead, like I said, both domestically and internationally. I think the best advice right now is just to look through the noise, remain cautious, and let's see where it goes. Andre, thank you very much for your time. We will chat again next week.
Thank you very much.